On September 10, 2025, Charlie Kirk was standing on stage at Utah Valley University, mid-sentence, mid-argument, when a single shot ended everything. The bullet struck his neck, and within seconds, he collapsed. Within minutes, he was gone. But how can something so small, so ordinary-looking, be that powerful? How does a bullet tear through flesh and shut down life almost instantly? And why is the neck, out of all places, the deadliest target of all? Today, we're going to break it down. Utah Valley University, a bright, ordinary afternoon. Students gather, phones recording, ready to catch the Prove Me Wrong tour. Charlie Kirk is on stage, he's debating, he's challenging the crowd, he's talking about mass shootings. Then the unthinkable happens. A shot cracks the air. From the rooftop of the Lozy Center, 200 yards away, a bullet slices through space at supersonic speed. It enters Kirk's neck. Blood gushes instantly. Students scream, scatter. Some duck, some run, some freeze in shock. Security rushes forward, but Kirk collapses before anyone really knows what's happening. Paramedics fight to keep him alive, but this is not a wound medicine can easily fix. By the time he reaches the hospital, it's too late. Everyone knows what a gun looks like. But do you know what happens in the split second between a trigger being pulled and a life ending? A bullet is not just a piece of metal, it's a tiny machine. Inside every round are 4 parts. The primer, a spark plug waiting to ignite. The propellant, gunpowder packed with explosive energy. The case, a container holding it all together. The projectile, the actual bullet that will be fired. Here's how it works. The firing pin strikes the primer. The primer explodes. That explosion ignites the gunpowder. The gunpowder burns violently, creating gas that expands faster than you can blink. Trapped inside the metal case, this gas has only one way out, forward. So it launches the bullet down the barrel. And here's where it gets frightening. Depending on the weapon, that bullet can travel 900, 1,200, even 3,000 feet per second. That's faster than a commercial airliner taking off. But speed isn't its only weapon. Bullets are shaped and designed with intent. Full metal jacket bullets slip through cleanly, designed for penetration. Hollow points blossom open on impact like deadly flowers, maximizing destruction. Some bullets are engineered to tumble chaotically inside the body, ripping a wider path than their size suggests. They're not neutral objects. They are engineered to kill efficiently. So when a bullet left that rooftop rifle and headed for Kirk's neck, it was carrying not just speed, but purpose. A bullet is not just metal, it's kinetic energy with teeth. Traveling at thousands of feet per second, it doesn't glide into the body like a knife. It explodes its way in. And once it's inside, 4 deadly things can happen, each one enough to end a life. 1. Arterial rupture. The carotids are like fire hydrants under pressure. A tear here doesn't drip, it sprays. Blood gushes, the brain starves of oxygen, and consciousness fades in under a minute. In Kirk's case, witnesses said blood appeared immediately, a clear sign the carotid was hit. 2. Airway collapse. Destroy the trachea and you suffocate, not because the air is gone, but because the straw is crushed. Every breath becomes a struggle, blood filling what little space remains. Survival here is nearly impossible without immediate intervention. 3. Spinal cord. Destruction. Sever the cervical cord and it's lights out. Your body disconnects from your brain. Breathing stops, arms and legs go limp, and the collapse is instantaneous. The body becomes a puppet with its strings cut. 4. Shock. Massive blood loss sends the body into shutdown. Heart races, pressure drops, organs starve. Even if the lungs and trachea were intact, the flood of adrenaline and blood loss makes the body betray itself. Every structure in the neck is crammed together. A bullet that strikes here doesn't have to hit everything to be fatal. Just one of these effects is often enough. For Charlie Kirk, that bullet found its mark. The neck isn't just vulnerable, it's a crossroads of life where chaos rules. Let's destroy a myth. Movies make bullets look like neat little puncture wounds. A hole in, a hole out, maybe a bandage, and you're fine. The truth? A bullet is chaos. When it enters the body, 4 things happen. 1. Permanent cavity, the actual tunnel of destroyed tissue, the hole left behind. 2. Temporary cavity. The shockwave makes flesh balloon outward like a water balloon, then collapse, leaving shredded tissue. 3. Fragmentation. Some bullets shatter, sending razor-sharp shards in every direction. 4. Tumbling. Bullets don't always fly straight once inside. They flip, yaw, and tear through more tissue than their size should allow. So instead of a clean path, you get shredded arteries, collapsed airways, ruptured nerves, organs turned into pulp. A trauma surgeon once said, "A bullet wound isn't a hole, it's an earthquake." And in Kirk's case, that earthquake hit the most fragile ground of all, the neck. Witnesses reported blood appearing instantly. That almost certainly means his carotid artery was hit. The carotid is not forgiving. Tear it and blood doesn't leak, it sprays. Pressure drops, consciousness fades. The brain, starved of oxygen, begins shutting down. Within 30 seconds, you're unconscious. Within minutes, you're dead. Even if the best surgeons in the world had been standing on stage, the odds were near zero. You can't tourniquet a neck. You can't sew shredded arteries in the chaos of a gunshot wound before the brain dies. It was, tragically, a wound beyond saving. And now we're left with uncomfortable questions. How can something so small carry so much power? Why are we fed lies about survivability in movies and TV? Why do we imagine ourselves as tough when, in reality, we're softer than fruit against bullets? The truth is harsh, our biology is fragile, and physics doesn't care. Charlie Kirk's death was political, tragic, shocking, but it was also a scientific demonstration. 1 ounce of lead traveling at supersonic speed silenced a man in the middle of his own debate. Words, ideology, arguments, all cut short in an instant by physics. And it forces us to face this reality. No matter what we build, cities, rockets, skyscrapers, our lives still hang by threads of flesh and blood vessels thinner than a pen. Not every neck shot is instantly fatal. Rarely people survive. A soldier in Iraq was hit near the carotid but missed the main artery by millimeters. He lived. Another man in New York had a shattered cervical spine, but the spinal cord wasn't fully severed. He survived with partial paralysis. These cases are extreme exceptions. Survival often comes with lifelong complications: nerve damage, breathing difficulties, or permanent paralysis. Charlie Kirk's wound wasn't one of these rare survivals. The bullet struck the carotid and likely damaged the spinal cord. Immediate medical help couldn't reverse it. The neck is unforgiving. One shot here is almost always catastrophic. So next time you hear gunshot wound, don't picture a neat hole. Picture a fire hydrant bursting, picture electrical wires severed, picture a straw collapsing. That's what a bullet did to Charlie Kirk. That's why he never got up from that stage. The bullet doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care what you believe. It doesn't care what you've built. It only obeys physics. And in the collision between physics and flesh, flesh almost always loses. For more such content, subscribe to Mindrix.